Hey. I have one missing bullet here. He's over here checking everywhere, right? Just like being a fucking like Inspector Dick with it. And he was like, he called a ceasefire. Everybody, dead range. Who took one of my bullets? There's a bullet missing. I counted. I had 5. There's 1 missing. There's 4 on the table, and I'm missing 1. Who took a bullet? Who took a bullet off of this table?
Mad Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil lay inside your box now while the angels fly over my headstone.
We are back with another episode of The Gain is Too Fucking Loud. Jesus Christ. I hope I didn't blow your fucking eardrums off during that intro. That shit looked nasty. Holy guacamole and chips. So we got a few things to cover, right? It was WrestleMania 40, probably one of the best WrestleManias in recent memories. Honestly, the last WrestleMania that I seen the whole WrestleMania was WrestleMania 24, which is crazy. I'm older than 24 now, which is wild. You know, that was literally what, 16 fucking WrestleManias ago, which is crazy to think that I haven't watched a WrestleMania in 16 fucking years, but here we are. There we go. It's finally hot, right? What is it? Weird weather we're having, just weird. It goes from, it's getting, I think last week it was like, it hit 80, then it's rained over the weekend, and it's gonna be 88 degrees tomorrow, and it's gonna rain on Saturday. Weird. Like, why? Well, what's up with this weather? I don't remember it being this hot and cold before, especially in Cali. Usually Cali is always like a straight shot, it's either cold or it's hot. You know what I mean? Now it's really hot and cold. I'm a firm believer in climate change. We've been documenting climate change here on the program since the beginning of its inception. I really got to get my fan fix. I don't know if you can hear it, but this shit is crickety cracking over here. Got all kinds of fucking sounds. The fan is going on. So believe me, I do not want to be sweating on the podcast. It'll get to that point though. It'll get to the point where I might be shirtless. I might be outside. I don't know, man. There's episodes, especially when I first started, like around like the episodes 40s and the 50s of those episodes. I'm literally shirtless and I'm all up in the camera because I don't want you seeing my fucking, my rolls and all that shit. It's gonna get to that point though. I'm gonna be sweating, and it's fine. Like, you know what I mean? I look better moist for the ladies. You dig what I mean? So over the weekend, it was a WrestleMania weekend, and then I did an episode. Well, first of all, Saturday I was in LA, bumped into my cousin, said what's up to him, gave him some clothes. Then straight from LA, I did a podcast with Asen. Shout out Asen. By the time you guys see this, you already have seen it. So thank you again, Asen, for being on the program. It was really dope. It was really interesting getting to see Asen. And me and Asen, like, that was the first time of us really meeting. Before, like, we had met prior at Firewater. So that was actually the first time meeting him, talking to him, and he seems like he seemed like a good dude anyway. Very reclusive, not really on social media. And he hit me up, and now I see why. Holmes, You know, the homies just go through shit, and you know, we're not gonna be on fucking social media talking about. We're not gonna be crying and shit about whatever the fuck we got going on. It's just things happen in life, and I get it. You know, we're not on social media with everything with it, so I totally understand. What is it? What else? What was I gonna say about Asen? He's just a really dope dude. The conversation was really cool. And I feel like I got into like the mind of Asen with talking about everything, especially we did it in the park. I mean, that was like a big Ontario moment for me. That was really what I wanted. And I don't know if you could see in the footage while we're talking, you could see a dude walking towards the camera, but then he goes into the bathroom. And that was the funniest part too. We did it like right in front of the fucking bathroom, so you literally see people going in and out, especially fucking like everybody, kids, bicycles. But some dude, he looks at the camera, he throws up the O, and he just goes inside. I was like, yo, what the fuck? Well, watching it again, like watching the footage, I was like, wow, that's hilarious. Oh, town. But fuck, what else was I gonna say about Asen? He's just really dope. That was the first time I met him. Oh, he looks like my Tío Chewy. You know what I mean? Like dark, almost like Maya, in a sense. Looking like mestizo type shit. Like Maya mestizo, something like that. Where they're not, you know, he doesn't look Euro. Like people think Mexicans are all one thing. No, we're not. You could get me and Asen and a photo together, and you would think like look at me like, is this fool like is he from Spain or something? Like I look very Euro Chicano, versus Asen looks straight paisa. No, I wouldn't say paisa like if it's a bad thing, but straight like from the motherland. You know what I mean? Where it was like, you like with me, you could definitely see I'm generations removed from the native Chican, you know what I mean, Mexica, versus he looks straight Mexica, you know what I mean? Or more so. You know, I've actually been to, you know, the Mayan villages where they got like they're probably more so, their DNA is more so of what they were thousands of years ago, and they look not completely different, but you could see how like they're dark skinned, they look like they just fucking speared a fish through the waters, they're in the jungles, jaguar paw, the feathers, the face paint, everything. So shout out to Asen. Right, I go from LA, get the clothes with my cousin, do the podcast with Asen, and then it's WrestleMania. I'll cover WrestleMania maybe at another point. I just didn't have my notes and shit. It was phenomenal. Just in a nutshell, fucking WrestleMania was awesome. The road to it was awesome. And the thing with like wrestling is you gotta be like when they book it, and the creatives and the writers and all that, they really gotta be careful about how they set WrestleMania, because it's the biggest fucking event. You don't want to go out with a fucking, you know, a fart. You want to go out with a bang. So the road going up into it with The Rock, phenomenal. WrestleMania, really good. They said it's like the best WrestleMania. I don't know if I want to go out on a limb and say that. For me, WrestleMania maybe 22 is my favorite, just how nostalgic it was. It was my first WrestleMania I've ever seen live on pay-per-view. Just got a lot of good nostalgic. But WrestleMania 40 is up there, I will say, especially if, like, from the last 20 years. It might be the best WrestleMania of like the last 20 years. Me personally, it's like WrestleMania, the WrestleManias with The Rock in Austin, the main eventers, 22, maybe 21. I'll say fuck it. I'll say maybe from like WrestleMania 17 to WrestleMania 25. Those are really good WrestleManias. You got like 17 to 25. You got a good 8 years of great WrestleManias with great matches. WrestleMania 40 is definitely up there, especially since I don't know the stories. I don't really know the characters. I'm just watching good wrestling. And I'm already breaking down WrestleMania 40, but just in a synopsis, it was a good WrestleMania. Sunday, the first thing I did was I got my clothes. And speaking of which, plug the clothes. The lucky number drop this is my personal. No one has this, especially the threads, man. So yeah, the lucky number Imperial with the hats, probably one of my favorite designs. And I wish I could say that. I wish I could take the credit and say, oh, like I came up with these designs, but I didn't. I actually flipped one of my favorite designs of all time. I'm not gonna say who or where I got it from because I don't want to get sued. I just, you know what I mean. I just want to put it out there that I'm grateful for looking at something. But I mean, I guess that's all it is. You look at something and you say, I wanna do that, but in my own way. You know what I mean? So I really appreciate all the influence. I could easily come up here and be like, oh yeah, I'm such a genius. I'm such a fucking, you know what I mean? Like, no, bruh. You get influenced by great designers, you know. All I did was put my little, you know, spice it up and flip it my own way, you know. And empanadas are fucking the staple. But what did Jamaicans do? They fucking added the Scotch bonnet, whatever, the masa, whatever they did, and then they made Jamaican patties. Fire. You ever eat an empanada? Even from whatever, like so many different Spanish countries, speaking countries make empanadas, and then you eat a fucking Jamaican patty and you're like, well, fuck, like this is basically two different things. It kind of looks the same, got the same kind of type ingredients, but they're two totally different worlds. And that's what I want to do with my designs. Not with every designs. Obviously, you have original designs like the La Merca Superior, snake logo, the heart, the everlasting. I actually drew the hearts. And then the homie Pasm, he did the lettering on it. And shout out to Pasm too. Thank you very much for rolling through and being a part of the team, because I got to shout out the team. I couldn't do this. I would love to be like, oh, this is my ingenious fucking company. But when I think of Imperial Apparel, it's not just me. It's me, the homie Ronnie. He gets all the prints and the packaging for me. And Pasm, my logo designer. And then Waste Boys Graphics. They did the first one. They or one person. I don't know too much about them. But it's really the team right now. Pasm, me, and Ronnie is very like word of mouth. Shout out Abe the Freak. He linked me with Ronnie. Ronnie linked me with Pasm. And it's all 6 degrees of separation. That's what I love. I love when it's like, oh, I had a look on the internet, or, you know, I bumped into somebody. It's really like a homie of a homie. And that's what I love about the business. It's just everyone is connected in some way, and we all contribute, and we're all great artists, and we're all trying to do business. So the more we can do good business with each other, the more great business in the future we can have to successfully succeed with our goals and our ambitions. Because this isn't like, I hope Ronnie and Pasm, I think now they know, but at first I think they might have thought this was just like a one-off. But no, they're gonna be my guys from now on. So I'm establishing the team and I'm letting everybody know right now. Pasm is amazing. He's an amazing just graphic design. I can't even, just artist. Like, he does the graffiti shit, which was right up my alley, and Make a Left. You know, I seen him do like a shipping container. I seen him like piece up on that, and then I seen him do like some sort of rose canvas all by spray cans. That shit's hard. That's not easy, bro. I was just listening to a podcast with I want to shout them out real quick because they're fucking dope. I be looking at their shit. Living Proof New York. CES. I don't know how you pronounce this. CES. Yeah. Oh shit, we're like around the same time. This is episode 158 and I was just listening. Yo, yalla. Yo. Okay, so I don't know where the fucking it got cut off at. But basically, Living Proof New York, it's Angel and Z. These fools basically just cover graffiti writers from what I can tell. What episode are they on? Does that even matter? They're on 160, so we're not that far behind. They probably got more. So, and it's not even about who got more episodes, but it's just crazy. We kind of probably started around the same time, but they've interviewed Earsnot, NM, What's my girl's name? Claw. They're awesome, right? So basically, what CES or CES, whatever he said, whatever his name, however you spell his name, what he said that, to the outsiders, all you guys are doing is coloring your name on the street, which is pretty crazy. And that's on the outsider's perspective, but obviously we're the experts, we're the writers that actually go out and do these things. Maybe not me, because I'm not active anymore on the street, but I'm definitely active with the clothes, and it all goes back to with him, and he was speaking about evolution. Are you gonna be like doing the same shit forever? Are you gonna want to be getting locked up? Because he's already an old man. He was already saying, I can't do it. If the cops try to jam me up, he's putting his hands in the air like it's the jig is up. You know what I mean? So I see that. And what the fuck was my point of all this? Well, just evolution, right? Just it went from me spraying on a wall or whatever, or hitting the black book, to now I get a designer and I tell Pasm, yo, I want this, but instead of hold on. I want a design like this, but instead of what they got going on, I want sparkles. I want the hats to have 9s on them. I want the question marks upside down, and I pretty much, if you look at this design and you're up on where I got it from, you're gonna know, oh, that's that. You know what I mean? But put lucky number 9. Imperial, that's the design. This was for St. Patrick's Day, but how it dropped in the fucking 1st of April, who knows? God knows everything. Obviously, I don't know shit. But basically, I sent the design in like last minute. It was like a last minute thing. So now I'm like, oh, okay, now for fucking just the sake of time, I gotta do everything ahead of schedule. And that's fine. I'm learning. With business, you're learning. So now I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be like Sunday. I went and did a podcast with Santi. Shout out to Santi. Shout out Mike from Jam Hits. When I think last week or some shit like that. I think at some point, it might have been last week. Yeah, right. Sunday, I went and I dropped the clothes off to the homie Ronnie. And then I think I recorded with Chava. Then Sunday, I picked up my clothes, went to fucking Santi section, did a podcast episode with him. It was phenomenal. What is it? The homegirl Two Souls rolled through. The homie Dottie Photos, he came through. And what is it? I gave Two Souls a shirt. Santi, he got like an exclusive everlasting Imperial shirt, and it's fire, bro. But that was in Moval, so I went from Colton to Moval, and then straight from the podcast went to the mall, and I played Pokemon. Then from there, I watched Wrestlemania. Wrestlemania was dope, and then while I'm putting all my recording equipment away and shit, was this Saturday? Oh, it was Saturday. From when I did the podcast with Ascend, the fucking microphone stand fell on my foot, bro, and it hurt like a bitch. And instantly, I already knew I fucked up, so I ran and got some ice, started icing my foot, and my foot's still bruised and shit, but I don't know. My mom, she's like half a fucking, you go to college for 10 years, trying to be a fucking nurse or whatever, and you think you know everything. You know all the cuts and the bruises and all that. She was like, is your foot fractured? Because when it's fractured, you know what I mean? You need to go to the hospital. And I walked like 4.5 miles the next day. So I told my mom, I was like, if I walk 4.5 miles and my foot's not really hurting, I think I'm okay. I don't think I have sprains or fractures or anything. You're not Dr. fucking Doogie Howser, I think I'll be all right, maybe down the line, whatever, but I really don't think, I think I'll be fine, I get bruised up and shit like that at work, so it's not a thing like bada bing. what is it? So that was the weekend. So I got a few things to talk about with y'all. A couple of pet peeves. Let's see. What could we do? What could we do? That Baltimore bridge collapsing. That shit was crazy. That shit looked wild as fuck. The bridge collapsing, like that's some of the shit that I avoid, like wooden bridges or anything. Like even when I'm going like on the junction, when you go from one, when it takes you up from like maybe let's say the 60 or the 15 to the 60, I'm always like, fuck, if this bridge collapses, I'm done. It's a done dilly. It's a concrete slab in the air. But bro, a fucking boat hit this motherfucking pillar in the bridge and the whole shit collapsed. That's literally like, I cannot imagine. I could not fathom any of that shit happening. It's just crazy, bro. So peace, prayers, and condolences to the friends and the families of the people that were affected by this tragedy. And speaking of fucking tragedies, No Russian happened in real life. This shit was trending. No Russian, if nobody knows, is a mission in Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2, where basically you're a fucking a US agent undercover in like the Russian. I think at that point they're trying to take over the world, or they're like Soviets. I don't know. I forgot. That game is like 15 years old at this point, 16 years old at this point. So basically the mission literally ends up, you're in an elevator with a bunch of dudes and you got big ass light machine guns. So you're like, all right, well, obviously someone's going to die. The elevator doors fucking open and you're just shooting fucking people. And you don't have to shoot people, but like since you're just there and there's 3 other dudes, they're all just spraying an airport full of fucking people. And this in real life, it wasn't an airport, but it was like at a big concert, and like a couple fools just started spraying the crowd. And let me look up the Russian mass shooting, because this shit was crazy. Russian terrorist attack. Let me see. On the 22nd of March 2024, a terrorist attack carried out by the Islamic State occurred at the Crocus City Hall music venue in Krasnogorsk, Moscow, Russia. So they're trying to frame it on the Ukrainians. 4 men, right? Okay, so 4 dudes. And they shot up a whole bunch of shit and people died, right? So that's basically the fucking synopsis of the thing. I think that's crazy. This is why, I mean, it's a music venue, so like you can't even say like, oh, if you were carrying, because they probably check people at the door anyway. But how does that even happen? You know what I mean? Like, how does like a mass shooting happen in Russia without them knowing? I think they did know at some point or something like that. But like this just like goes back to 9/11 and all that shit. Like, how the fuck does this happen? How do you even not anticipate some shit like this? Like, obviously there's an inside job. People are gonna know, because 4 dudes just don't just hop the fence with fucking AKs and just start shooting. Like, no, it's like it's a planned attack, Quasimodo shit, you know? So I really don't want to get into the politics of this shit, but just know that this shit was wild. We're living in scary times, and fuck politics is really what I gotta say about that shit. Should I talk about this story? Maybe. All right. The first time I ever went shooting, I think it was just me and my dad, and we went shooting with his coworkers. It was really cool. The first time shooting, I don't remember too much, but I do remember I had fun. And I do remember being like this is cool, because I remember my grandpa, my Papa Nacho, he would always so he passed away when I was 10, but from earlier on than that, we would always we would kick it, and he he would tell me, I'm gonna buy you a horse, a fucking pistol, so you could like ride with your chick. Like, this is some novella type shit. Like, you could ride with your girl on a horse with a pistol and all that shit. And now I want a revolver. He was probably like, I don't know. My grandpa had a 38 Super. And from what I know, my grandpa had a few firearms. I know for sure he had like an AR-7, like a Survivor, like 22 rifle, collapsible into the stock. You know what I mean? He had a 38 Super. He had a 45. And that's pretty much it. He didn't have that many. And he probably didn't even legally own them. My pop told me, he was like, yeah, I'm pretty sure someone just gave it to him or sold it to him. And he was never like a legal owner. Which is like, I think that's very common in Mexico. Or with Mexicans, it's just like you end up finding a piece. Like someone ends up, I think how my dad, from what I remember, what he told me was, I think, what is it? Someone owed my grandpa some money, so they just gave him a 38 Super, which is like, that has to be and it's an original Colt 38 Super, so those have to be at least $1,000. We're talking like 80s, this pistol. So Colt 38 Super original price. Yeah, so you're looking at over $1,000. Obviously, it's in mint condition, yada yada yada. But you could tell like the pistol's like been either not well taken care of or like exposed, or actually I don't think it's actually been used like to smoke nobody. You never know. You never know. The guy could have bodied somebody and then just gave my grandpa his hot gun and was like, yo, fucking, you know what I mean? That's your shit. But who knows? I think the 38 Super was very popular in Mexico. 38 Super caliber origin. Because I want to know. I don't think... it's been assumed that the 38 Super was designed as an improvement to the 38 ACP, yet there's some discrepancy to the origins of the caliber and a bit of what came first, conundrum to the ammo's history. So it was introduced in 1929, which is very, very crazy. And to me, it kind of looks like a 45, like a skinnier 45. Let me see. It's not one of the most popular calibers, yet it has not become completely extinct either. A number of major ammo manufacturers still fabricate limited supplies of 38 Super each year. Holy shit. Yeah, so if you look at oh, okay, no. Instead of a 45, I meant it's similar to a 9mm. Like if you look at a 9 and a 38 Super, they're very similar. As a matter of fact, a 38 Super just looks like a bigger 9. Like if you just enlarge the 9, that's what it looks like. 38 Super has a good kick to it. I liked it. My grandpa, he was a really cool dude. In his personal life though, like, everybody has their own demons and shit, right? But he was off of that, my grandpa was like really dope. He was really cool with me. I could remember just like, he had like chivos and pretty much just chivos like in the backyard when I used to stay with my grandma a lot. And yeah, he was a really cool dude. I would love that pistol. I would love to have that pistol in my possession one day. Hopefully, my Tío Rick has it. But they're not into guns. I see my cousin Gabriel. I see him taking ownership of it before I do. But then I'm kind of iffy about it because on one hand I love it because it's more of like a family heirloom type thing. It's a memory. It's a piece of my grandpa for me. But then at the same time, we don't know the origins of this firearm, and obviously you're not gonna give it to the cops, and the cops are gonna be like, "Oh yeah, everything checks out. Here you go." Like if anything, they're gonna take it, and then fucking it's gonna end up fucking and some cops, hey, look what I found. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing with family treasures and with firearms. Like, to me, it's not a rare antique collector's item. For me, it's a piece of our family history, and I want to protect that and keep that. You know what I mean? So with the laws and everything, it's kind of like, but whatever. Here I go drinking a whole bottle of water in the fucking in the episode. It's all right. So where I was going with that was, so I love my grandpa, and the first time I went shooting, I was with my dad and his coworkers. The second time, we had even more people. So we didn't own any firearms at the time. I was too young. I was probably, the first time I ever went shooting, I was probably like 13. I either just turned, yeah, I probably was like 13 the first time I ever went shooting with my dad. And at that point, I didn't even know my dad had been shot a gun and all that shit. But my dad's funny. Like, he don't tell me shit about his life. And it's crazy to me because I would tell my kids a lot about yo, we back on. Literally, I'm gonna buy a new fucking interface. I'm tired of this shit fucking up on me. You did great. You gave me a solid fucking 7 years and some change. I love you, interface, but this now I gotta let you go and I gotta buy a fucking another. Already, like, literally when I get paid, I'm gonna buy a new interface because this is fucking bullshit. Because this interrupted my story, right? Because I don't even fucking remember where I was. I was 13 the first time I started shooting. 14, I went with my cousin to the fucking to the desert and shit, and I really wanted to tell this story. Oh, I was going back to like my dad never really told me shit about his life, like as like growing up and shit. Like, I still don't really know shit about my dad grew up. I know my dad's a DJ. He's been a mechanic for the longest time. He met my mom when, fucking they were like 15. They were like high school sweethearts and shit like that. But that's pretty much it. I don't really know too much about my father and like the way he grew up, which is crazy to me because I feel like I'm going to tell a lot about my life to my kids. I definitely want to start writing, journaling. It's not a fucking diary. It's a journal about, my life and shit. But I don't know. I really don't know. I think word of mouth is better, or writing is cool too. But like, it's just, I don't know. Who knows? I just feel like I have so much to say and I have so much that I lived through that I would tell my kids, My dad is real reserved. Like, it's funny because my dad externally to other people and shit, he's real extroverted and like a really, he's a great dude, don't get me wrong, but he's more so like reserved and shit. And I have chicken in the oven and I feel like I should go check on that shit. Right? So maybe I'll end it after this story, after the podcast. I just realized that now. God damn it. Anyway, I don't really know shit about my dad, right? So, nevertheless, I love him. He's like a big role model in my life. I just wish I knew more shit about my dad. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, going back to this story. So, we're in the border between Cali and Arizona, and I'm with my cousin. And it's we're around some interesting characters, yo. Like, there was this dude who, to me, he kind of seemed like a little mental, not like disrespectfully, but like he just didn't seem all there. Like, maybe he was, now thinking about it, he was probably a little autistic. But to me, it's like, why do autistic people have firearms? Not that they're not trustworthy. Believe me, there's some fucking people that should be diagnosed with shit that do have firearms. Hey, we could. That's another conversation altogether. But this fool, I'm like 14, and this fool, his whole thing was he had like two twin 45s that he would rock on his holsters. I don't know what it was, but that was his thing, was just drawing and shooting akimbo. That's another thing. That's a Mino stupid ass. Why are you shooting two guns at the same time? You're not fucking Arthur Morgan. You're not, who is it, Billy the Kid? Who I can't even name cowboys that like are known for shooting two, but it doesn't work. Shooting two guns at the same time, like you're not gonna shoot shit. You're really not. Where did that come from? It's really like for intimidation, like, oh, I'll shoot you with two shits. Like, no, bro. Like, I think Jesse James was known for shooting with two revolvers, but even then, like, these fools, I'm gonna sneeze right now. Even like with Jesse James and shit, I'm pretty sure when he drew, one hammer would go up, boom, another hammer, you know what I mean? Like, it was alternate, like the fucking homies were, like the fucking, no, bro, like them homies wasn't going out there and shooting shit like that, bro. It just wasn't happening like that. What is it? So the whole concept of shooting two guns at the same time is fucking dumb to me. But this dude, Mr. Otis, he came through with 245s, right? And then I don't know why, but he was like doing the whole shit where it was like this. Watch, let me show, because I don't want to, I'll give you a visual. He was going like this, right? He was like taking a piss and he had his gun like this. And he was like, look, the shadow, obviously, you know, he was like this, and then the shadow, the sun casting the shadow on the floor. He was like, look, it's like my gun is my cock. When he said that shit, me and my cousin just looked at each other like, what the fuck did this, what? It wasn't even really, I remember not even laughing. It was just really weird, like, that fool said that. We were like, what? Like, what did this fucking mental say to us right now? And then I remember talking with my dad later on about it. My dad was like, that was fucking weird. Like, what? Like, he said that? Like, yeah, no shit, Pop. What the fuck? You know? Yeah, so, and then that was that weird dude. Then I'm gonna call this guy the Elephant Man. I don't know his name. He had a Uzi, which was dope. And as a matter of fact, that was his Uzi that I'm holding in the La Merca Superior. That day is the day we went shooting. It was his Uzi, and he made a big fucking deal about this shit because he put like a 16-inch thing on it or whatever, extension on the is a Uzi a pistol? It's probably considered a pistol, right? And he was like, yeah, you know, it's illegal. It's a fucking minimum 5-year felony in the state of California. Like, Mino, like, super dick with it. I mean, I could kind of get it, but then like why, bro? Like, you don't have to be like a super dick about it, but I mean, I get it. Like, I understand, especially if he had like a military background, he was older, you know what I mean? And he just wanted us to know like the lowdown of the laws. Like, I get it, right? But at the time, I'm like, you just seem like a mega dick about it. But he had a elephant rifle, big ass rifle. I mean, looking back at it, thinking about it now, it was probably like a 30-06, 30-30, some shit like that. Like, the bullets were big, but they weren't like 50 cal bullets where them cocksuckers are this big. Like, it was probably like, yeah, like a 30-30 or 30-06. My cousin swears it was like fucking, you know what I mean, a whole baguette bullet that this cocksucker was just loading in the rifle. And, you know, the funny shit was when, and I want to say the rifle had an internal magazine. I don't think they came with clips, so he was loading them from the top. And when he was shooting them, he did like a funny fucking dance. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't shoot on, you know what I mean? Like, he wasn't shooting with the rifle, the stock on his chest. He was shooting from the hip, like down here, like, you know, when they're spraying. And he did like some funny fucking dance. I don't know what he was doing. Let me try to do this shit comedy style, but when he was shooting, it was like doing a dance, like he was offloading them. He was like, the way he was offloading the shells, it was like he did like a fucking like African dance with it. Like, he was like fucking like like dumping them shits. Like, he was like fucking, it was so fucking weird how he did it. And motherfuckers just fucking dum, 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 like this fucking like was unloading and shit. Like what the fuck? Hilarious, bro. Fucking hilarious. But I remember me and my cousin were dying when we seen this fool fucking dancing and shit. It really looked like something out of a fucking cartoon. But yeah, I'll never forget that dude just because he's a fucking idiot. And he had them bullets on the table. Like he would pull them out 5 at a time. My cousin, he took 1 bullet. And the fucking guy, hey. I have 1 missing bullet here. He's over here checking everywhere, right? Just like being a fucking like Inspector Dick with it. And he was like, he called a ceasefire. All right, everybody, dead range. Who took 1 of my bullets? There's a bullet missing. I counted. I have 5. There's 1 missing. There's 4 on the table, and I'm missing 1. Who took a bullet? Who took a bullet off of this table? And you know, the other homies are like, yo, like no one took it, man. You're just like, cause the whole time he's being a dick like this. Like, all right, you need to aim down range and fucking, you know what I mean? If you don't, like, he was just making like, he was just being overboard with it. Like, no one gives a fuck, dog. Shut the fuck up already. So by this point, everyone had enough of his shit. So that's why the validity of his whole temper tantrum he was throwing, no one gave a fuck about it. They were like, yo, you're just being paranoid. Like, you shot a bunch of times already. Like, stop, bro. But little did they know, my cousin actually swiped the bullet and he gave it to me. And I was like, God damn. The bullet wasn't even as long as the marker. It literally was like, probably, yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, if it was like the marker, the bullet was probably like that big. So it probably was, yeah, like a 30-30, something like that. It's a big round, you know what I mean? The fucking guy said it was an elephant rifle, so I'm gonna just take his word for it. I think, but I want to say rifle rounds are bigger just because they're made to hit the fucking skull of elephant. You know, a 30-30 might not go through. It'll probably hit him and fucking, you know, it might kill him. Let me see. Fuck all the bullshit. Elephant rifle caliber. It's a 357, yeah. 357 rifle round. 357 rifle round. No, this looks like for a revolver. Elephant rifle caliber. $600 nitro? Jesus Christ, 600 nitro express. Hell nah, that foot in. Hell nah, I remember. Bro, look, let me show you how big this fucking bullet is. Jesus Christ. Holy fuck. There's no way. The bullet, I remember, the bullet was like a fucking 30-30. This shit looks like the rounds that fucking Tarzan or that Hunter was trying to hit Tarzan with. So I would imagine if you look, Ah, man. Okay, so look. So on the left or the right, so the smaller bullet looks like a 5.56 round, which is like a typical AR round. But if you look right next to it, that's a 600 Nitro Express. There's no fucking way. My cousin would be like, yeah, that's the bullet. Like, no, it wasn't, bro. I remember. It looked like a 5.56, so it's probably a 30. I'm gonna wrap this story up because I got the chicken in the oven and shit, and I don't want it to burn, and it's probably burned already, but that's fine. What is it? So I remember we were all shooting, and that night, we camped out. We're all talking or whatever around a bonfire, eating sunflower seeds. Shit was dope, right? But then off in the distance, we hear fucking, wow. Like we heard like a mountain lion and shit. right then, everyone got a piece. Like, everyone, like, literally got a gun. Like, all right, like, we were ready to fucking, you know, skin us a cougar or whatever, right? And then we heard it again. Like, I think it might have been closer or some shit. Like, wow, you know, whatever the fuck. My fucking voice is all fucked up. But, it was crazy. I really thought we were going to have to shoot and shit. And then, like, earlier in that morning, there were coyote. We went coyote hunting, like, at 4 a.m. And the old man, you know, Elephant Man, he pulled out with the rifle. And what is it? Well, we all had split up to go look for coyotes. And then, like, after an hour, we just heard, like, a shot. So we run over to go see the shot. And the guy, oh, he has a fucking scope on his rifle. And he's like, oh, yeah, I seen a coyote about 40 yards that way, and I missed. And we're like, you fucking missed? You got a scope on your rifle, you know what I mean? Yosemite Sam? Like, come on, bro. Like, how the fuck do you not hit a coyote, bro? And I didn't see any coyotes, so I just think he just, like, had enough of the coyote thing, you know what I mean? And, you know, I think he threw that whole coyote shit. But yeah, that was the second time ever shooting. I don't really remember the first time. All I remember from the first time shooting was we went to Barnes and Nobles. I found a Wu-Tang 36 chamber CD. And that was the jam on the ride. I didn't even play it out of the car. We played it out of, I had a portable DVD player that I still have, and it played CDs. So we were right there bumping 36 chambers. Wu-Tang and guns were my first time experience ever shooting. And I think that's dope, man. The message of the day. I had a message already, but man, just like have fun, live life. You know what I mean? Don't take this shit too serious, man. You know what I mean? Like, life is short. So just try to live it the best you can. You know what I mean? Like, just do things that you love doing, and just live life to the fullest, bro. Like, do what you actually want to do. Like, obviously everyone has priorities, work and all that shit, but find what you love to do and go do that shit. This is the God's Hour.
Max was the turnout of my lifestyle. Smoking green, blowing white clouds to build the blue skies. Conversating with the gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Gods by my wildflower, to let them know that it's the God's hour. This love's the never-ending saga. Walk through the sands of times like Gara. On the other side of that gad is karma. You wet Prada, the devil like inside your box now, while the angels fly over my headstone.